Welcome to True Vine Talks with Rachel and Linda. I've been told my microphone's a little loud. Is it loud?
Oh,
I don't know.
I think it's good.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna just try to low my voice a little
Yeah,
bit.
you're
Just
good
like
at that.
thank you. So today, Rachel and I would like to process with you the highly sensitive person. And this book was recommended to me and it is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Elaine Aron is the author.
The highly sensitive person. And I purchased her book on Audible. Probably will get the hardback because it's that good. So thank you, Elaine Aron. Am I saying her name right?
I think so. That's how I said it. Yeah.
Cool. So this book is blowing us away. We're
I know. Linda shared it, the Audible with me, and I bought it too. And so we've both been listening and we're like, oh my goodness, this is so explaining so many experiences in our lives.
right? Wow. So, in our field, we generally, call some people having generalized anxiety or, they just a little more on edge than others. Well, in Dr. Sue Johnson's work, she gets away from labels like DSM-5. She's like, yeah, you got to put that out there for a diagnosis. That's just good practice. And we also need to look at the person as a whole person. And this is why this is earth-shattering to me, this highly sensitive person.
Yeah, it's very non-pathologizing, like Sue wants, right? Without labels, without diagnosis. I love it. It just explains what I think she says about 20% of the population is experiencing. Yeah, by being a highly sensitive person.
Yeah, so 20%, that's not very low. Like, you're thinking, well,
it's a good chunk. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So is it out of 100 people? I can't do math. How many people is that? 20% of 100?
Oh gosh. 20? Everyone listening is like, come on, guys.
20, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it would be 20.
Sorry, I didn't say I was a mathematician.
It's okay. I'm not either. Trust me, I had to think about it before I answered.
So 20 out of 100 people in a room are experiencing these symptoms. And, actually, she calls it traits and characteristics.
Yeah.
And I like that because, we all are made differently. Even though we're all cut from the earth, we're still all made different. And this resonates so much. If you look at it and read up on it, the person with an HSP characteristics have a deeper nervous system. And Rachel just looked it up, and that means permeable. And I just said, maybe that means we have more nerve endings, more nerves.
Yeah, but there's something about our DNA in highly sensitive people. There's something about the way we're built that our nervous system is more easily activated than people who are not highly sensitive. And so makes us a lot more sensitive to stimulation. So we get easily overwhelmed by strong sensory input. Things seem much more chaotic to us than people who are not highly sensitive.
Very well stated. And if you look it up, and I don't know, does this take me off the screen if I look at something? I don't know.
No, you're still here.
Okay. So on verywellmind/highly sensitive persons traits to create more stress.com, they list, they have to avoid violent movies.
That's me.
That's both of
Yeah.
us. And, pop culture is, there's a lot of violence in movies and games. And um, for some people, it doesn't move them. But when I watched the clip this week to, the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, that startled me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so much hurt, sad, and I felt the pain on his face. Like it just
Yes.
rattled me. And I thought, they showed some pictures of the audience and they showed how some people were responding. And I thought, there's a bunch of HSPs out there.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I intentionally did not look it up because I just knew that I would experience like a physical pain sensation. I
Yeah.
really struggle when I read that and saw it on the little survey. I was like, "Oh my goodness, that is me to a T." If I'm watching a show with my husband and a violent scene comes on, I will close my eyes and put my fingers in my ears and ask him to tell me when it's over. It's like I want to avoid feeling overstimulated. It
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, I have a major response to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it only makes sense that you have more sensory things happening when you visualize something like that.
Yes. Yeah,
And
my nervous system
yeah.
just really activates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it's profound. I just
It
think that's
is
profound.
profound, and it's really been life changing. I feel dramatic. I feel so dramatic saying that, but reading this book, because I have always been embarrassed by that. I have always felt so weird that I have that strong reaction to things. But and she even talks about how a lot of highly sensitive people do. They feel embarrassed, they feel like they're maybe like weaker than other people, like because our culture in Western society puts such a, puts strength on a pedestal and being independent and fearless, you know, um, we do not feel like we are those things as highly sensitive people. We
Mm-hmm.
compare ourselves to that, and
All the time.
all the time. And maybe growing up, I'm sure a lot of other highly sensitive people heard the similar things that I did, right? Like, oh, you're so shy. You need to open up more. You wear your heart on your sleeve. Don't be so sensitive. Don't take things so personally. Know? When really we're just really empathetic, compassionate people that feel
Yeah.
deeply. Yeah.
Yeah. So true. Like, oh, you're just too sensitive. Okay, well, so do I need to dance around your insensitivity
Yeah.
to make you feel okay about being insensitive? Like,
Right.
no, maybe you don't feel in the same way that we feel. And that's okay. And don't judge or alienate people that feel different things. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, what you're saying is so true. It's like you feel, and some other traits of the HSP. Um, oh, I love this one. Being deeply moved by beauty.
Yes. Like a song or, art or yeah, I've definitely cried listening to music or
Mm-hmm.
watching a movie, reading a book.
Mm-hmm. Hiking to a waterfall and just seeing
Oh,
the water
yes.
fall down into the pool. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. We have we tend to have a rich, complex inner life. And so we experience not only like sadness and fear more deeply than non-highly sensitive people, but also experience like joy and gratitude much more deeply than other people. Like I remember several times, Linda, you and I doing supervision and just like tearing up, talking about how grateful we are to know each other. Like we do that all the time, you know.
Now we know why.
Doing it now. Now we know why. We're highly sensitive people. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. So we appreciate each other's internal experiences.
Yes.
And that's what makes us attuned to our clients so well, is like, yeah, you felt misunderstood. Yeah, you felt judged. Oh man, it sucks to feel inadequate. I get it. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
We get it. And so that's what makes True Vine so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they like there was this example, and you mentioned it to me, Rachel. Thank you. Is I have anxiety. And then the more I read about the HSP, I'm like, well, yeah, I have anxiety. And we went to this wonderful parade in Florida. It was the Pirate Parade. Everyone's dressed up. My aunt, she's got so much charisma, Melanie, of course, and she's got her pirate get up on, and I'm all excited with my sister, and I'm like, yeah, let's go to this parade. I get there, people are smoking weed, there's all kinds of smells, there's 500,000 people on the road.
Wow.
And my nervous system just goes, and I had some more language at that time. This has been years ago because of EFT, emotionally focused therapy. I had more language. I'm like, I'm feeling anxious, but I didn't know why. I didn't know what was happening, but I had more language. And I was able to communicate. And I could tell she was disappointed that we had to leave a little early, but she's starting to understand because I've been teaching her, some of these things, and she still loves me and does great things with me. But now when I say I'm feeling overwhelmed, she knows how to respond.
Yeah. And that's one of the traits on the survey, is being easily overwhelmed by things like bright lights, strong smells, coarse fabrics, or sirens close by. So yeah, like all of that are going on at once.
In a parade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you do notice that those types of experiences, the language around that is, hey guys, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yes, it is absolutely okay. Highly sensitive people need to kind of like withdraw and be alone sometimes to reset.
Yeah, because their nervous system, I was just theorizing with you earlier, Rachel. I think we have more nerve endings or something.
More Elaine describes it in the book as having a stronger pause to think response to stimulation. And so we process things at a deeper level, and it takes us longer than most people for whatever reason. Yeah, just being highly sensitive, that just comes with the territory.
Hence why we need more sleep.
Yes. Right? That was another thing that I was like, I'm not just a lazy person. You're needing like 9 or 10 instead of 8 hours of sleep. Yeah.
All right.
The hunger thing was funny too, but go ahead with the sleep and then we'll go to that.
You're right. I went to my grandpa's, my wonderful scuba diver, airplane jump out. Oh my goodness. That's not the right language. He would parachute out of airplanes. Sorry.
Wow.
He was so awesome. I went to visit him in my early 20s. I was sleeping. I just slept till like 10 a.m. I worked 3 jobs and I was working on
Oh,
my
wow.
master's. I was pretty tired when I went to visit. It was like, it's okay if you need to sleep, Linda.
Oh,
He just gave me permission to rest.
yeah. How great.
My grandpa, I hadn't seen him in forever. I'm so glad I visited him. But we need more rest, and that's okay.
Yes. Downtime to
Mhm.
process. Yeah. Along with sleep, she also said that highly sensitive people are more likely to have experience nightmares,
Yeah.
especially in childhood. Oh, that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's because we pick up on subtle cues. Some people call it psychic abilities, but we'll pick up on something didn't feel right about that individual. And then we might dream about them, and it might be nasty, but they didn't actually do those things, but we experience that. Just some subtle,
Mm-hmm.
what's the word? Subtle nuances that we pick up.
Yes. In the environment, right? So if you've ever experienced like walking into a room and kind of like feeling a tense energy that maybe nobody else is picking up on, and you're like, how do you not feel that? It's so obvious. I'm very uncomfortable right now. You're probably a highly sensitive person. Yeah.
I read in a meditation book once that this couple argued in this room, and she was holding on to the pillow so deeply because she was upset, and laid it down, and someone came into the room and they felt the energy from the pillow, so they threw it away.
Oh my
They could
goodness.
feel the negative energy into the pillow. I'm like, yeah, I would have felt that.
Ugh, yeah.
So isn't that wild? And so it's like so important to be attuned to, what am I feeling in this room? What am I experiencing? Checking in with yourself in these moments.
Yeah. Absolutely. So when we're tired, we are tend to be affected, and we need more sleep. And when we're hungry, we
Oh
tend
yeah.
to be more irritable, and our mood changes. And my whole life, my family has joked with me about like, oh, Rachel needs a Snickers because of the Snickers commercial where people are like, I'm hungry, need a Snickers.
Give you some chocolate.
Yes.
Eat a berry.
So now I'm like, I'm not just a cranky person when I'm hungry. I'm highly sensitive.
When my nervous system needs food, I go like this. And that's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
To keep Snickers around for Rachel. I'm gonna get some Snickers and put them up there in our office now. That's good. Yeah. So when you feel hungry, it's important to snack, because your nervous system may go haywire. It might say, hey, you're starving to death. You're not starving to death, but
No.
your nervous system triggers that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any food? Will there be any food?
Yeah.
Do I have enough? So experiencing sensations very different, like textures. If something, when you eat something, if the texture's not right, you may not be able to digest that, or anything of that nature. So yeah. And then how do they feel misunderstood? Is the video on? Okay. How do they feel misunderstood? Well,
Yeah, that's a good one to bring up again, because we didn't really finish talking about that. But like where I mentioned where our culture really is focused on, being like brave and strong and independent. I think highly sensitive people feel misunderstood because we get labeled as, overly sensitive, weak, yeah. How would you describe that? What do you think? How are we misunderstood as highly sensitive people?
yeah. Yeah, those are all true. You're just, you're just being too sensitive. I said that earlier. Or, you just need to toughen up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Get strong, be strong. You know, yeah, you just get a lot of messages from society that being timid or quiet or sweet or, you know, yeah, just being real thoughtful isn't valued as a societal thing. And so yeah, you might be misunderstood. Why is she in her room? We're all out here having a good time. Why is she isolated over there? What is she doing? Oh, she's being a snob, or she just thinks she's better than us, or no, they're trying to self-protect. They're soothing their nervous system. And I love what she says in the book about, let's treat ourselves like a baby. I love that.
Yeah.
What does your infant self need, Rachel? Does she need a Snickers?
Just need a little food, a little nourishment. Yeah. A nap.
It's so good. That's so good, though.
Yeah.
Would you like to say more on that, Miss Rachel?
Yeah, let's talk about how in the book, Elaine talks about how the highly sensitive person type is usually plays a mentor role, and how we are actually really important to society, because the non-highly sensitive people, right? And we're not comparing, we're not saying one's better than the other. We actually need both of us. We need both types for
We need
balance.
warriors. Yeah.
Like the yang and the yang, right? So the non-highly sensitive person is like what Linda just said, like the warrior type. They're going to be, more impulsive and brave, and they're just going to get out there. They're the leaders, but sometimes, every warrior needs that mentor to play, devil's advocate, so to speak, and kind of like give two sides to every story. Like, hey, let's pause and think about this. Do we really need to go to war? Could we maybe talk this out?
Yeah, a spiritual guide.
Yes.
Someone who's attuned to the greater, bigger picture.
Yes.
How is what you're doing going to affect ABC? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in a year from now. How is what you're doing going to affect these people? How's it going to affect your feelings about you?
Right. Yeah. It's back to that, a stronger pause to think, right? The highly sensitive person's going to think further ahead, right? And they're going to think of that domino effect. How is this action going to affect, future?
Yeah. We are so important. I know I sound very and narcissistic right now, don't I? We are important to society because we pause to think. And I like that. I like what she says about pausing to think. That's a good phrase. Now, what she does get into a little bit about is attachment, which is mine and Rachel's EFT therapy. It just falls right in line with emotionally focused therapy. So, we have the three major attachment styles: secure, anxious, and avoidant attachments. And we all need one primary caregiver to be there for us from cradle to grave, as Dr. Sue tells us. And the HSP typically didn't have, not always, this isn't always true, but didn't have a secure attachment to one caregiver. And so my understanding is that, maybe their caregiver had other children and they were occupied, or their caregiver was struggling with, making ends meet. They didn't have enough food, so they're out there working. They can't attune to that sensitive child. And so they'll feel, if their caregiver is got lots going on, they can't really be there to sort of soothe the infant. And life happens, man. We all got things. I mean, I didn't meet every need emotionally and physically for Grant. I'm sure Charlie stepped in and compensated, because it's a lot.
Yeah, nobody can do it all.
No. So as a parent, if you felt like you didn't get it right, none of us get it right. We don't get it right all the time. There's
Not
no
all
way.
the time. Yeah. She also talks about how you could have an overly attentive parent, maybe a parent that is really anxious. And so they're feeding the baby before the baby even cries to let them know they're hungry. Right. And so if it's the highly sensitive child, and you wouldn't know that, probably as an infant, they're not learning how to even ask for their needs to get met because it's already met.
Yeah. Yeah. So then that can be overstimulating, over arousing.
Yeah.
And so they got to do the opposite to try to, for their infant self, to try to she talks about the feedings, which feeding is nurturing, is that, well, maybe you need to go longer periods of time without food because maybe you were overfed. It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of different components to taking care of your inner child or your inner baby. I like the inner infant. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That goes along with what we do with that inner child work that we did a podcast on. So, yeah. But she's saying highly sensitive people who grew up with a, secure bond to both caregivers are more likely to learn how to manage that higher sensitivity, more likely to learn how to take care of themselves and regulate their more easily activated nervous system. And then if you grew up with an insecure attachment with at least one caregiver, it's going to be harder for you to know how to take care of yourself and regulate your emotions.
Yeah, because the person that has a chaotic attachment, and I did with my father, the anger is very triggering for the HSP because you feel it different. Yeah, you really feel it.
Yeah, it rattles you like inside. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bottom up sensation, which is the type of therapy we do, is bottom up, not top down. You're not logically thinking about, oh my gosh, are they going to blow up? No, you're like, you feel it. Oh, they're getting ready to blow, So if you had trauma and you're an HSP, you have a lot more things to overcome in that regard. And yeah, but it's possible. And that's what, what do you want to do when you realize you are an HSP? And she gets into what we call self-parenting. And I love that. That's so good. Yeah, I found myself going for lots of runs. How about you, Rachel? What did you do to self-regulate?
Yeah, I played a lot of sports. I did volleyball and track. I ran as well. I was a long distance runner because I think I liked something about like the solitude, going on a long run and just having time to like process thoughts. I really never even thought about it until now, you asking me that. It's making sense. Yeah. And the breathing, when you run, I focus on my breathing a lot, in the nose, out the mouth. And now as therapists, I know how beneficial that is for the nervous system. So yeah, the brain.
Yeah. So good. And someone in our Bible study, she's so brilliant. She's a nutritionist. I should ask her to come on our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
She said that rest and digest.
Wow.
She says
Goes
that
with what we just talked about. Yeah.
rest and digest. So sometimes you just need to pull back, take a hot bath, rest, drink a little cocoa, because cocoa is good for you. Not a bunch of whipped cream and a bunch of sugar. I'm talking about this hot cocoa is really good for your overall health. It slows the body down. The flavonoids in the chocolate's good for your system, the antioxidants. And when you drink hot chocolate, it's a slow process.
Yeah. And what's coming to my mind, I don't know why in this moment, is
Good, go with it.
the author mentioned, because I really resonated with this, mentioned that sometimes we might get confused between being an introvert and being a highly sensitive person. Because I like going out and being social and being around people, but it's also very overstimulating for me. And so afterwards, I really need to be alone in some calm, quiet space,
Mm-hmm.
To recalibrate.
Recalibrate.
Yeah.
Think of that word, or as our audience listens, think about what you think about recalibrate. I'm thinking about the chains moving in an engine.
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah, that's what comes to my mind.
Yeah, you're recalibrating.
Yeah, or like that balancing, in a way.
Yeah.
Like regaining balance somehow.
So good. So you're self-parenting, and so she talks a whole lot about what we just processed, self-soothing, going for a long run,
Rest and digest.
Rest and digest. What does your baby need? Your inner baby.
Mm-hmm.
If you're saying, oh, little Rachel, what do you need? And it's not condescending to yourself. You're saying, I need to reparent myself in this area because parents can't get it right all the time for their babies. They got other babies and work and towels to fold. I mean,
and their own internal, stuff going on. We all do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want parents to feel any type of judgment or shame around our podcast. It's not, you can't get it right all the time.
No. Yeah.
No way.
The majority of people are either anxious preoccupied or anxious avoidant attachment style. The majority of people. So it's not a result of failed parenting at all.
Yeah. You're doing your best.
Absolutely.
Most people I talk to, most people in life are doing their very best. How come we would recommend the HSP to seek a counselor? What would be important about having a counselor if you do have these traits we're talking about?
Yeah, so it would be helpful to see a counselor if you're a highly sensitive person to help you process how you've experienced being a highly sensitive person throughout your life, right? And as well as learning how to reparent yourself, how to take care of your inner child through self-care, right? And incorporating some like daily practices into your life, like starting to exercise, paying attention to, how you're giving your body nutrients. Are you eating enough vegetables? Are you drinking enough water?
Yeah.
Learning coping skills to, kind of like calm your nervous system, right? You might learn some meditation, some grounding techniques.
Oh, yeah. And also, all those are awesome. Thank you, Rachel. And having an object of permanence, which is a counselor, a safe place where you're not being judged or stigmatized for having these sensory things
That's number
happening.
one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just are so grateful for the work that she's done. I mean, this is just amazing work. Elaine Aron, right?
Yes, Elaine Aron, thank you. The highly sensitive person.
We're just grateful as therapists in the field for this work. And maybe we can possibly do a little more about the highly sensitive person, because there's so much there and we're just grateful. Yeah. So thank you for joining us for our podcast. Miss Rachel, do you have any more in regards to that, or just
if any of this that you've listened to today resonates with you, maybe give this book a try, because I mean, it's really, we can't say enough good things about it, obviously.
Yeah, we're on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us with True Vine Talks. We will hopefully see you soon.
Yeah. Bye.